What if Chris was confessed to crimes he didn't commit because someone paid investigators to make sure he had no other choice? I know that sounds impossible, but ask yourself these questions. What if $200,000 could make certain evidence disappear and other evidence appear? What if the interrogation wasn't about finding truth but confirming a predetermined story? Here's what keeps me up at night. Chris passed a preliminary evaluation suggesting he was telling the truth about certain details. That evaluation never made it to trial. What if the defense attorney had financial pressure to not dig too deep? His firm received an anonymous donation right before he advised Chris to take a plea. What if the real timeline shows Chris wasn't even in the state when the initial incident occurred? Flight records suggest he returned early, but those records conflicted with the prosecution's narrative, so they weren't submitted. What if everything you know about this case was manufactured? Not by Chris, but by grief, money, and people who decided justice meant revenge, no matter what actually happened. Dear God, as we remember Shannon, her 2 kids, and her unborn baby Nico, may their souls rest in peace. Lord, protect our families from every evil. Please type amen in the comment. Let me know how much we remember them.
I got home. He was there. He had just walked in the door. And I remember briefly after he got there, I checked my texts. I mean, briefly after I met up with Jim, I glanced at my texts. And Chris said something about my family's not home, or my wife and kids aren't home. Something to that effect. And I told Mark, because he asked me for a time, and I don't have an exact time, but I remember it was right after I walked.
That was a text message, though.
Yeah, it's in a text, and it's it was briefly after I walked in the door, so based off how long it takes me to get home from work and when I clocked out, it's probably about 3:45 p.m. Texts me and tells me that. And he knows when I get off of work too, so he doesn't always bug me if I'm busy, so I don't know what's up with that, but that's when he sends that to me. And
so you're saying that he would have known that you would have had your phone available to you and not been at work when he sent you that text message?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
So looking back at it, you think it was purposefully sent at that time?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm just asking your feeling on that.
Yes, and then he said, "Call me when you can." And I was
there was no other communication between you and him that morning, on Monday morning?
Well, there was, but it was random.
But nothing about this event?
No.
About my wife's missing, or
no,
anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
And you knew he wasn't coming to the office because he had told you that Sunday night.
Yeah, and then he goes, and so they're only in the office for the morning.
Right.
Some days it's longer than others, but I would say by a maximum of 7:30 every single morning they're all gone, and they don't come back unless they have a meeting or something that they have to attend. So not seeing him for the rest of the day is not an unnormal thing.
Okay.
But I'm saying, we don't really. The only reason we interact was kind of by an off chance thing. I don't work with him.
Mm-hmm.
So he, we talked randomly throughout the day, but it was really sporadic, and he seemed pretty busy, so we didn't talk too much. Like I said, didn't put too much thought into it. It happens all the time. Waited till about 3:45, then sent that text to me, and yes, he does know that I will be home at that point. Or getting home.
Did you give Mark Jim's information?
No, I would really not like to involve him in this.
Okay.
He does not know about this. He was not. He doesn't know any of this is occurring.
Okay.
I was
So
literally
he knows, certainly through the media, that something's occurred.
Yeah, he's
with Chris.
Out of town. He's probably has
Okay.
no idea. He doesn't know
Okay.
who Chris is. He's not. I do not know.
So he's just a friend of yours.
Yes.
He
does not
was
need to be
coming to
dragged
your
into this.
apartment and doesn't know anything about Chris. Does he know anything about Chris?
No,
Okay.
nothing. Absolutely
And
not.
we've known Jim for years and years.
You're not dating him or anything like that?
No,
It's just a
he's
friend.
one of my very good friends. My dad knows him. He's a great guy. He works out of state a lot, so when he's in town, we hang out. But when he's in town and he's off of work, to save time, so I give him the key to my house, one, because I trust him and he's one of my best friends, and two, because sometimes he will just meet me there, because I'll be like, hey, I'm getting off of work, and then if I get stuck in traffic or something, he ends up like sitting outside of my apartment waiting for me to get off of work. So I'm like, here's a key, and like my dog loves him and stuff. So no, he's not.
So he's just
involved
family
with
friend.
Yes, I don't. Even
The only
want
reason
him
I
dragged
ask,
into this.
and I'm not really concerned about your location. I think we already have your cell phone records. At some point, did Mark ask you to supply? Did they ask for consent to get cell phone records? That'll probably be done by warrant. If we
Isn't
wanted,
that what you just did?
nope. What I'm talking about is your movement
Oh.
by GPS or by cell phone tower to show where you were. Obviously, and I don't want to cause you concern, we want to know where you were that day too. You're dating a man who did some egregious stuff, and we want to show that you were never near him that day. Period.
I mean, you guys
So-
can track my
No,
stuff.
yeah, I mean that was something we will have to get a warrant for, anyways. I'm just saying, if we asked for it, would you have any objections to that?
No, you can have
Right.
it.
So,
I'm
we'll-
a pretty boring person.
well,
I
it
don't
sounds
go
like
too
you
many
just went to
places.
work that day, and then you came home and you were there at 3:45.
Yeah, like
on
give or
Monday.
take like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
whatever.
But yeah, so 3:45. I meet Jim there. Yeah, I would
And
totally
so
re-
Jim is understand from an investigative point, he could be a person who could say, yeah, I was there at 3:45. He doesn't know Chris. He doesn't know anything. He could say with one phone call, yeah, she came in at 3:45, done.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't have to ask anything more than, hi, Chris, my name's Kevin, or Jim. And I'm not saying you have to give it to you.
Just leave Jim
But
alone.
if
Jim
at
does not need
some
to be wrapped
point-
up in this.
If at some point I needed Jim's info to, let's say we couldn't find your phone records, would you
you
tell
can
me who
have
Jim
them.
was?
I will give them to you.
Would you tell me who Jim was if I
If
couldn't
you
get him?
had to.
Okay.
I don't really want to
Great.
involve him in this. That's not
Perfect.
fair to him. That's not, no, if I do not have to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so anyways, Chris was like, call me.
And this is the 3:45 text.
Yeah, he sent me like a few. I think there was 3 of them, and I don't remember what the other one said, but something about like, yeah, my family's gone, or I don't remember verbatim, but call me when you can, or call me when you have a chance, something to that effect. And so when he told me call me, I was like kind of alerted, where I was like, okay, what's going on, you know? But first when he told me like his family was like not home, that didn't really seem odd to me that his family wasn't home. It was really vague. I'm like, okay, like, are they at the grocery store? Like, elaborate. And so, you know, and then, but he says, call me like it's like an emergency, but then just says that they're not there. And so I'm like really like floored by that. Well, not like floored, but just kind of like, he says, call me, so I'm concerned. And then he's really vague, so I'm like, maybe he just wants to talk to me? I don't know. I think it took me a little while to like really process the severity of the situation, just because this is not something that you expect to see every day, and the way that he talked to me made me believe that this is not what was going on at all.
Okay, so you make a phone call to him and you guys have a conversation.
I did. I stepped outside.
This is 3:45.
Ish. I mean, well, like, I think I actually interacted with Jim for, like, probably a good 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, he's my guest. He's in my house. So I don't think I called him right away. But, like, I mean, I'm trying to balance the fact that I have my friend here, and then Chris is saying that something needs to be addressed. But to me, it didn't sound like an emergency. I mean, it's all the time. Like, people aren't home right now. You know, so it just... It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to take this call.
It didn't
it's an
register
emergency.
as being
no,
critical.
No, I mean, it was the way he said it, and I was like, okay. So I remember hanging out with Jim for a while, and then I stepped outside, and I made a call, like, out on my back patio, and I called him, and he didn't answer the phone. And then he texted me back. Oh no, did he answer the phone? I don't remember. I think he missed my call, and then he called me back. Or he just answered. Either way, it was a very short talk to him where he was just like, I have to go. The cops are here. And I don't remember if he said that on the phone or over text.
That's
I don't
okay.
even, I'm so tired.
That's fine. You don't
But
need
either
the
way,
different,
like,
it's
the
just
cops,
the context.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will figure it out. The cops are here. And I'm just like, all right. And then I remember we were we were texting, but I was like hanging out with my company, so it wasn't like a nonstop text. It was just kind of like I would check my phone every once in a while, and we would communicate with each other. And he was just saying like they weren't there, and that her friend Nikki was there, and that her friend Nikki had called the cops. And I'm like, why would this girl call the cops? And like, I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late, I don't even know what time, like 9 or 10, was all via text. So you should have this via text. Like,
Okay.
I don't think we started talking again on the phone until, like, after my company left. And he was like, I don't know, he just started, like, giving me details about stuff, and I don't remember what order, but he was saying, like, Nikki was really upset, and that the cops were there, and that they were, like, searching the house, and I was just like, what? You know, like, what? Why? And he was telling me that they had, like, had a disagreement or something like that, and then he told me, like, she was going to go to a friend's house, and I was like, okay, well, maybe she left, you know, maybe she just, like, went to her friends. And then I think I don't remember, but I think he was the one that told me that her cell phone and her purse were still there. I think he told me that.
He told you her cell phone and purse were still there?
I think he did. I don't remember.
What's the significance of that in your mind at that time?
At that point, I thought this woman was really trying to get out of this house.
Okay.
That's what I thought, because he said that they'd had a disagreement, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I leave my cell phone at home.
When he said disagreement, what did he tell you what it was about, or?
Not at that point. Not at that
Okay.
point. So, again, like, you guys are going to have to check these texts, because it's all, like, my brain feels
That's
like
okay.
a mashed potato right now. But I remember him saying that, and I'm just thinking, like, well, maybe she was in a rush, you know? Like, maybe she was just like, I'm going to my friends. I'm leaving my cell phone here because I don't want you calling me. I don't want anyone else calling me. I mean, there are days where, like, when I'm outside of work, I will just shut my phone off. I just do it, and it's, like, my way of getting peace. So to me, that, I mean, like, it was weird that it wasn't even that weird to me that she left her phone just because I leave my phone, but it was weird to me that she left her purse. But knowing the fact that that girl was, like, always on her phone, then, yeah, I guess it is kind of odd.
Like, she lived on her phone, I think,
yeah.
pretty much, is my understanding of her and a phone. So, I don't know if you knew that
I did.
until prior to the media stuff, or just from Chris.
I did.
So, did that strike you as odd? But you're thinking maybe she just left.
I just thought she needed to, like, get away from the situation. I mean, that didn't seem that awkward to me, that a couple that is going through separation would be like, I need to leave. I just need some space. Like, it didn't even, like, process. I was like, okay, like, give her some space, you know? And on that note, too, when he was in, we're going to jump back for just a second.
It's okay.
I had a thought. So when he was coming back from North Carolina, that was when he officially told me we're going to get a divorce and we're going to put the house up for sale. Like, he told me they were separating and they were, like, going to put the house up for sale, but they hadn't done it yet. And then when he got back from North Carolina, that was when he was like, it was like a sealed deal.
Okay.
And the reason that is of significance is because at some point over the weekend, I don't remember when, he told me that they were putting the house up. I don't know if it was they were putting it up on Monday, like the day they went missing, or if it was that they were calling the realtor to verify some stuff so they could put it up that week. Like, I don't quite remember. I just remember, like, the house, which was supposed to be, like, on the market, like, that week.
Did he name a realtor ever?
Yeah, he did, and I don't remember her name. It was a female.
Okay.
And I don't remember her name, like,
That's
at all.
fine.
I was trying to think of that for you guys not too long
Is that the
ago.
company? You got the company name?
No, he never gave me that. He, like, gave me her name, and it was the same name twice. He gave it to me once when he was in North Carolina, and then once the other time. Because I remember asking, I was like, who's that? Because he's like, I'm going to have her call so-and-so today and make sure everything's still good to go. And I was like, who's that? He's like, the realtor. It's like, oh. Or not today, but, like,
If it ever comes to your
Monday.
mind, just
Yeah, I
Give me a
doubt
voice
it. That
number
was
to
such
call.
a...
Yeah.
I will try. I don't
lots of
remember
names.
what it was.
It's fine. It's not that critical. That person may come forward to us anyways, perhaps. So don't worry about it. Let's go back to the phone calls on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so he's, like, texting me a lot of this information, and I'm starting to kind of freak out. And it's not like I'm freaked out like, oh, she got murdered. I mean, that is not what I thought. It's like, okay, like, the way I looked at this, like, apparently his wife had been gone since midday. Well, is when she got, like, reported missing. I didn't know that. Like, the way I looked at this, it was, I got home from work just now. I mean, he didn't say that, but I interpreted, I just got home from work. And my family is not here. So when we're texting for like a few hours, like the cop thing was kind of weird. But he's like, Nikki insisted they call the cops. Nikki insisted they call the cops. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm just trying to figure out, well, like, what role does this woman play in this situation? Like, is she...
Did you know who she was?
No, I don't know any of his people. Like, this has been pretty, like, tight wrap for a while, which is probably a really good thing. But anyways, I didn't know, like, who she was. And so, like, I started asking him. I was like, well, where do you think your wife is at? And he's like, I think she'll be back tonight. Like, I think she's, like, out with somebody. And he was telling me that they had a disagreement. So I was like, well, I remember telling him, I was like, you should make sure that you have a... wait a minute. No. So all that happened. And then it starts getting kind of laid out. And I remember we talked for text for a while and part of this conversation, and then it moved to the phone. And I remember telling him, because he was like, I think she'll just be back tomorrow. I think she's just going to be gone for the night, like, with a friend, you know? And
Did he name the friend?
No, he didn't. And, like, because I don't think, he made it sound like he didn't know, like, what friend's house she would be at. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, well, maybe it's that Nikki girl. And he's like, well, Nikki called the cops, so why would she be at Nikki's house? I'm like, I don't know, kind of throws her off the trail of where she's at, you know? And it's like, it sounds kind of weird, but it's like, he really made this sound like this woman was just, like, upset, left the house, and that was probably what he thought happened to her. And so I didn't really put too much, like...
Did he tell you the kids were missing as well?
Yes,
with her?
I knew.
Okay.
I mean, which made sense to me, because I was like, well, if you were at work all day... I mean, he didn't tell me he got home early. He didn't say that to me. So, I mean, it made sense. Like, if she's going to leave, they should probably go with her. And so, I don't know. I feel like I wish I should have, like, processed all of this earlier, but I just don't feel like... When one of my friends is gone, I'm like, oh my God, they got murdered. We should address this. Like, I haven't heard from them in 4 hours.
It's not a typical thought when somebody just checks out for a day.
No. So it got late at night, and, like, I remember telling him, I was like, he's like, I think she'll be back tomorrow. And he was going to go into work, and I told him not to. I was like, you need to stay home, and you need to help the cops. I'm like... And you need to wait for her to come back. And he's, like, telling me, like, well, what if, like, she comes back and she sees my truck? And I was like, you know what I would do? I was like, I would ask one of your good friends who's off of work tomorrow to come over this house and hang out with you while you're here. I was like, and go park your truck down the street. I was like, so she's upset at you and she wants to come back. I was like, but she doesn't want to be here if you're here, maybe. I was like, if she comes back, I was like, and she doesn't see your truck, maybe she'd be more willing to come in the house. I'm like, you know, I'm like, but don't be alone with her. I was like, because if she's upset enough to leave, I was like, you don't know what kind of confrontation you're going to have when you get back in the house. And I was like, so that's why you should have a friend there so that you're not alone with her. And I was like, and if for some reason you are alone with her, I told him, I was like, I really thought she just left. I did. I was like, get your phone, put it on video, and put it in your pocket. And I was like, and just zip it up. And he's like, why? And I told him, I was like, because you can voice record. I was like, so if she comes home, I was like, and you two are still, like, you know, if there's some choice words being said, because you guys obviously got into, like, something that's, you know, early
Did he
in the
ever
morning.
articulate what their argument was
He did,
about?
and I will get there. But, you know, I told him, like, just be prepared. You know, because at this point, like, it wasn't like I was, like, trying to make her to be a bad person. It was just like, I didn't know what was going on. I assumed that she had left, so I was like, well, when you get back, because I knew that they were going through a divorce, it was like, just cover your bases, you know, try not to be alone. And if you are, just record what you guys are talking about, so, like, at the end of the day, like, nothing bad happens to you, you know? And, like, that was kind of how I processed that whole situation. And so, he was like, all right. And then, she didn't come home that night. That was Monday night, right? Yes.
We're talking about Monday.
Monday night, yes. And he told me this is what he told me they talked about, and I realized that this is like total bullshit, and I think he's telling you guys a different story. And I think the reason that he's telling me I think the story he's telling you is probably slightly more accurate than the one he told me on this case, and the reason is because I think he was trying to save his ass with the fact that she's pregnant. So he told me that she had asked him to wake her up before he left for work on Monday morning. And so I don't know if she did that on a text or how it was supposedly communicated. But he said that he went to get her up, which I also found weird because, like, she's still sleeping when he leaves because she gets up with the kids. And they get up shortly after that, but, like, it's just him in the mornings, you know. And so he said that she woke up and those two kind of just, like, got in a disagreement, and I don't know what all was said, but he was like, she was being pretty mean, and then he said, she told me that she's pregnant, and she told me that the kid is not mine. That is what he told me.
So she's pregnant, the kid's not mine,
And that she's...
like he's playing, he didn't know she was pregnant until that morning, and that she had an affair with somebody else.
Yes, and this is before I knew she was 15 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
Like, all the stuff on Monday that I read from my recollection, because I didn't find out she was pregnant until Tuesday. So anything that got posted on Monday did not emphasize the fact that she, like, had a baby on board. So then...
Let me ask you something. You said that he usually gets up in the morning and it's him and she gets up and takes care of the kids. Is that the routine that you know for them? Or do you know him to get up and, like, prepare meals prior to him leaving the home?
Well, he gets up and he, like, goes to the gym and he works out in his basement and, like, makes breakfast, and I don't know.
Does he make breakfast for himself or does he make breakfast for his children?
I don't know. I don't know. They're still sleeping at that point. Like, all I know is he, at one point in sometime in this whole thing, he told me that they usually get up at like 6:30, and she gets him ready and takes him to school and, like, does all the morning stuff with them, as far as I know. And then in the afternoons when he gets home from work, he kind of does more of the afternoon stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a tag team operation that they have going on, but I think she does more in the AM and he does more in the PM.
All right.
Is kind of how I process that, but I don't know.
Okay. So she's mean to him and then throws this out.
Yes.
That she's pregnant from another man.
And I said, do you believe her? And he was just like, he said something about, like, oh yeah, like she kind of looked like she was showing when we were in North